Hello, everybody. I wanted to talk to you briefly about academic discourse, why academic discourse is important, and how it's going to help you as a student, both at LaGuardia and beyond. Academic discourse is really just a fancy way to talk about the ways that you're going to be expected to communicate in college classrooms. In other words, it's how your teachers will expect you to talk to them, to write for them, and how you'll be expected to talk with your classmates together during course activities. Some activities that you might encounter in your writing classes that are going to ask you to use academic discourse might be things like engaged discussions, where you're talking to your classmates about the work that you're doing in the class, either reading assignments that you've had or writing assignments that you've had, or where you're sharing your writing with each other. You might be asked to do some reflective writing, which is a specific genre of writing in composition classes that asks you to think about how you are approaching different topics that you're writing about and how you are feeling about the writing that you've done and where you've been successful. You might encounter formal papers or essays, and you might encounter timed written exams. All of these types of writing and discussion will need you to use academic discourse. Academic discourse is important because when you learn to use language specific to a discipline, that gives you a lot of power as a writer and a speaker. It's going to help you engage in the work of being a college student because it's going to identify you as a member of a community of learners. When you're using academic discourse, your professor is going to help you understand what specific elements of this they want you to use. Now, in writing classes, you might be asked to consider a variety of different things as part of the academic discourse of that specific classroom. So, for example, a professor might ask, what elements did you plan to use in your writing? How can you avoid plagiarism by successfully incorporating sources into your writing? How do different parts of your essay work together? What choices are you making as a writer around tone, style, and organization? How are you framing your writing? And my favorite question always is, what is your thesis statement? These are all different words that we use in the composition classroom that all add to the discourse of the work that we are doing in there. Finally, you want to think about how you can become more familiar with academic discourse. Now, I'm sure you'll have heard this hundreds of times by the time you are hearing this presentation, but you really want to try to familiarize yourself with words, terms, and phrases that your professor uses frequently. These might be really unfamiliar to you as a newer college student, but once you learn the language and the vocabulary of your classroom, you're going to start to feel more comfortable using those words in your own work. One of the best ways to get familiar with academic discourse is to read constantly, but most importantly, read the course materials that your teachers are telling you to read. That again is going to familiarize yourself with the language being used. And you'll see in some of the writing that you are reading, the modeling of how to use different words and different phrases to craft arguments that are written in an academic voice. Finally, ask for help. If there's something you're unsure about or you don't understand, you've got to ask your teacher. No teacher has ever said, don't ask me questions. Questions are always welcome, but your professor's not a mind reader, and you need to ask them if you're struggling with something. That way they can be sure to help you get on the right track. I hope that short presentation was helpful about academic discourse, and I hope you're having a terrific semester. Take care.